This is Rhea, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics, including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more.
The more I talk to men
Hmm.
and males, they're like, yeah, I lied like fucking crazy when I was a kid. It was stupid, and I just did it for the hell of it. Like, no one will make shit up sometimes, and it's like, oh, you're fucking lying. That literally
Okay,
didn't happen.
now see, now that one I am an expert in. That lying. Oh, I was a compulsive liar growing up. I'm not
He said
gonna.
the same thing. He was like, I lied all the time when I was a kid. Doesn't make it right, but
Right,
just give a little insight.
right. So I actually asked my parents how they handled it because I didn't understand why I did it, but apparently they
Hmm.
did because they didn't tell me until finally asked them, like, "Hey, like this is when I finally gained morals and everything." Like was like, "Okay, no more lying, no more like there's no reason for me to lie anymore."
Yeah.
Once I figured out why I was lying, it helped me to be like, "Oh shit," like So I was
Hmm.
talking to parents, and I was like, "Hey, like." When growing up, what did you like? You knew I lied so many times. I knew when I was lying. I knew when you knew I was lying. And I still did it. Did you ever figure out why? Like, I mean, like it was just more like a curiosity. And they're like, yeah. And there was a point when we just kind of not cared because it was because when I lied, I was thinking it was a life or death situation. Like I
Hmm.
felt my life dependent on this lie. Like I felt like, like kids, it's normal for a kid to want to lie to get out of trouble. But for me, it was like I'm lying to save my life. Like that's how
Hmm.
I viewed it. Like even if I have the bread behind my back and they can see it, I know they can see it. I still had this compulsion to be like, no, I didn't take it. Like it's not here. Like it's
Yeah.
because I felt like even though I knew my parents for a long time at this point, and I
Yeah.
know they're not going to kill me, they're not going to hurt me, they're not going to do
Hmm.
anything. And I also was hoarding because, that's other trauma shit.
Right.
But
Right.
like,
Well, that's kind of understandable, seeing as what you went through as a kid.
well,
So,
yeah,
you
but
know.
like the compulsion of lying was because I felt like I was in fight or flight, and the only way I would survive this
Hmm.
situation is if I lied. And even though I knew that I can just tell the truth and I'm not gonna get hurt or abused or anything, each time that I lied and then they found out that I lied, even though it was within seconds, I still made it through that situation alive.
Yeah.
So it was like if I keep doing it this way, I will still live. Whereas if like this was before I tried the path of the truth and still lived through that.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like why I did it. That's like why I lied a lot growing up. And it was like my way to survive, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I don't know. Like, I mean, Noah is kind of a little bit of a special case because I mean, even though he didn't go through what I went through, he's presenting
Right.
things.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was a violent kid, but I mean, I just took it out in other ways. I didn't take it against other kids. I just took it out on myself,
Right.
really. I mean, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So, and also the manipulation of adults. Oh yeah, that's the best. Easy. That's easy. Come on. Like, even a toddler can do it. I know that because I did it. Like, as a toddler, like, I mean, like, manipulation of adult. I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying that sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know why he lies, but that's just my 2 cents.
It's dumb stuff too.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
I'm like, I don't, is it just a boy thing? But I don't ever want to like dismiss certain things and not take care of my children's mental health and
Mm.
just say, oh, it's just a phase, it's just this, just
Did
that,
you, did you ever like, and you have talked to him and asked him, like, hey, this is something that we're not going to get mad at you about. Like, why'd you lie about it? What does he say? I don't know. Is that what he
I
says?
don't know. I don't know. Or, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Okay, stop with the I don't know. Let's actually think about this.
So we can get to the root of the problem. But
I'm not for I can't do it and I don't know.
mhm,
You can't do it. You're having trouble with a component of it. Let's get through that component so you can move forward.
mhm.
I don't know. You do know. You do know. Or if you don't know the reason right now, well then let's think it through and figure it out. But
Right. And it's
I'm
like
not a I
for that
can't, I
to,
don't know person.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to piece it together. Like I'm helping you piecing it together. I don't understand. Like I understand why I did the shit I did because
Yeah.
I had this first 5 years of my life incorporating this shit into
Right.
me.
Well, so with him, he knows his biological grandmother.
Hmm.
He sees her on a kind of inconsistent basis. I mean, he doesn't see her all the time.
Right.
He's actually met his biological mother. He's seen her. I don't let him like hang out with her. I don't let him around her. Quite frankly, she doesn't want to hang out with him, so I wouldn't make that a thing. But he knows at the expense of keeping things from him, maybe I've included him in a little too much.
Hmm.
I feel like that sometimes. Maybe I've told him a little bit too much, but I would rather him know and have that and not just
Yeah, that's
try to
one thing.
grasp at straws here.
Right. I mean, that's one thing I will say is I hope no parent. I understand why some parents have done this where they don't tell their kids they were adopted or anything. But honestly, I think at the moment that they can comprehend it, they need to know. And
Yeah,
because, like, I would, if my parent, let's just say for some reason that I got adopted when I was a baby, right? I would have noticed things were a little different about me than my parents. I wouldn't want that confusion, but then I would also feel like I'm being deceived.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I know there's parents out there that are trying to protect their child from, being hurt that, hey, like you were giving up. Like, and I'd rather like work through that growing up instead of being 17 or 16 doing a DNA test and then like, who the fuck are these people? And I'm gonna be pissed at my parents, even though it's at that moment I probably will know logically, like, okay, this is not their fault. And they didn't tell me. Now I'm fucking pissed at them.
right.
But
Well, and
like,
that yeah, that was my dilemma in the beginning was okay, do I tell this kid and then him his whole life know and have to deal with it his whole life, or do I not tell him and then him have to
something
all of a
worse happened
sudden learn all of this at 18 years old? Your whole life
with a
has
lie. Yeah.
been, yeah, you feel like your life has been a lie. So it was like I picked what I thought would be better in the long run because then I have 18 years or however long to prove to you that
It doesn't
just
matter. Yeah. Like it
she,
matters,
whatever
but
she did, I'm here for you and I've been here for you and I'll be here and your dad is here for you.
right.
Regardless of the choices this person made,
Mhm.
you've got us and we've
Right,
been here the
exactly.
whole time. And I would rather, but I guess it depends on that person's mental capacity. How much can they comprehend? How much can they handle?
Yeah.
Like
The thing
I don't
about it
know
is,
that.
I think that if my sister is able to understand it to an extent, anybody can understand it to an extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like for
yeah.
people who don't know my parents, my sister has a mental disability. So I'm just saying that for the viewers so they don't think I'm just like, oh, she's probably a normal person. She's,
Talking shit about her.
you know what
No.
I mean? Not
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
Redact that, whatever. But like,
No,
uh,
yeah, she has a mental disability to where it is more difficult for her to understand and comprehend certain things.
right.
So you're just saying she is able to comprehend it, then
A lot of
most people
people,
would be able to.
yes, exactly. Like she knows that she's from Romania. She knows that, like, hey, like, but she loves my parents to death, so she really doesn't give a shit about Romania. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, and
so,
I think it's the delivery too. When he was very small, I gave him this nice little story wrapped in a bow.
mhm,
It was like, I think the literal story was that Shannon gave birth to you, and then I became your mommy. She
mhm,
gave you to me for me to become your mommy. And I think, I mean, we've had conversations that I think that God put you on this earth and in my life because he wanted me to be your mom.
right.
And that's how, that's why we were connected. I was connected with her while she was pregnant.
Mhm,
Didn't even know that I was going to be his mom at this point,
yeah.
and I didn't know her before that, but when I met her when she was pregnant. And so, I just, that those are the things that we've talked about. And,
And I mean, my mom would also do stories sort of like that. She
mhm.
was like, in a country far, far away, under blue sky, there
Oh,
was a little girl, and her name was Natia, and she had these big brown eyes, and made it into like a story mode to where like
that's so cute.
yeah, like she had it was a big, like I'd say maybe like 5, 10 minute story. And
Yeah.
she has all this detail in it and everything. And I was like, it actually makes me feel good about being adopted. Like, you know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
And so it was a story that I used to ask her all the time to tell me growing up. I'm like, can you tell me the story about you finding me, and all that type of stuff? And there was actually this thing when I came to the US, I had a hole in my skull, right? And so, and it's just on my brain. And I had to do a big brain surgery and skull surgery and everything. This was right after I was adopted. And I asked my mom about a couple years back, when they did that surgery on me, were you scared? She's like, and I was like, rude. And I was like, why weren't you scared? She's like, I don't think you would have gone through all that and for us to go through all this for it to not become anything?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was fine again. Because
Yeah, yeah,
I was like, imagine like a kid going through brain surgery and a
yeah,
whole skull, at age 6.
yeah,
I mean, I would be terrified for the kid, but
yeah.
I get what she was saying though. Like she was like,
Right.
that wouldn't have
I
all
trust
happened.
in God he didn't put you here to not get you any further.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
thought that was sweet. Like I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but I think from what it sounds like, at least Noah has adjusted to you guys pretty well though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could never tell him that we aren't his parents. I mean, if anybody, that's my mom, that's my dad, you know. Um,
That's why when I talk about like my parents, like when they say mom, I think of my mom, not my
right.
biological mom. The only way I'm gonna think about my
Yeah.
biological mom is if he said biological mom or bio mom.
Yeah. So, did your mom ever kind of like, did that ever bother her? So, like, Noah said something not too long ago, and he said, "Yeah, my mom, blah blah blah." And he was talking about his biological mom, and I was like, "You mean your biological mom? I'm your
Mhm.
mom." And then I was like, "Should I have done that?" Like, I don't know that that was necessary. Like, he knows I'm his mom, but it kind of like felt like an insult to me. Not like he was insulting me, but be
No,
like,
I
"Don't
see what
call
you're
her
saying.
mom."
Yeah.
Don't
Oh,
call her mom. But I didn't say it
I,
like that, like don't call, but it was
yeah,
kind of like, oh, I'm
yeah.
your mom, not her.
I think I think growing up, like not really understanding the weight of the word mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes I would ask my parents, like, hey, do you know anything about my mom? You know, and I could see the hurt in my mom's eyes when I asked her that because I think it was that word that I used, and I wasn't understanding the weight of the word.
Yeah.
Um, and so when I realized how much hurt her for me to use that term, and after I got the information I got from my biological mom, that's when I just started saying, hey, like I talked to my bio mom today, and I made it specifically because a mom is a title that is earned. I will call her my bio mom because she is my bio mom. She's
Right.
earned that title by giving birth to me, but my
Yeah.
mom earned just mom. The
Yeah.
full, all the love and care of the word mom
Yeah.
goes to her, you know.
Yeah.
And I had my bio mom saying like, "Hey, you can just call me mom, right? Or you don't have to call me Picria or whatever." And I'm like, "Yes, I do. I'm sorry, but that title only goes for her." And
Oh.
so, like, I mean, she's earned that title. I
Yeah.
actually like her like shit. She earned that damn title. Like, I think that your feelings are very valid and understandable why it hurts. I think once Noah understands the weight of it, like I think he would correct it. And I don't I mean I think it's one of those things of like maybe just wait till he's a little older, maybe. Because right now
Yeah.
he is still like a kid. And like I did that as a kid. I was like, oh, I want to know more about my mom. I want to know
Yeah.
more, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And or what you can do easily is you can be like, okay, if you have questions about your bio mom, like, just kind of keep reinforcing that, hey, like this is your bio mom, you know,
Yeah.
like this is I don't
Yeah.
s- I don't see an issue with just like, just like diverging it a little bit, just be like, oh, this is your bio.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Like,
Yeah. Well, then I'm also like, does it matter? Like, you know what I mean? Because I know maybe it's just me just being a little bit selfish because I'm like, I am your mom. You know what I mean? Like, she's not
well,
here.
well,
So I'm
I
like, I don't even think that I should say anything because I think it's just me being kind of selfish a little bit. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's selfish. I think it's you not feeling like you're getting the recognition you deserve from him. And I understand that. And so I won't say it's selfish. It's like you're just looking for that little bit of recognition from him. Like, hey, I've been here for you. She hasn't. Why are you putting her?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I and that's 100% valid. Like that is valid and that is something that he will also see too, Like I've said shit to my mom a lot, and at that moment I didn't realize how much it hurt her.
Right. Yeah.
And so as he starts learning social cues and things like that, like and understand life a little bit more,
Yeah.
I'm feeling it's gonna get corrected because I corrected. Like, I mean, I don't know if he's as smart as me though. He's a boy. Anywho, but
Boys take a little longer to get there.
just a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, they develop a little bit later than us, but yeah, like I mean, I think he'll get there. I mean, I think it's just that right now, I just don't think he understands the weight of the word. What's the
Yeah.
meaning, and he still
Yeah.
calls you mom, so. I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't call you Rhea?
No, it's funny because we actually had a brief conversation. I don't remember what exactly we were talking about, but he made a comment. He's like, "Ooh, I wouldn't want to call you Red. That's that just feels weird. I'd rather
Yes.
call you mom."
Yeah. So,
Oh, I think we were talking because over time I've given him the option
right,
to call Quentin dad or Quentin because he wasn't in the dad capacity for the first few years of his life.
right, right.
So that's been an option, and I think that's what we were talking about. And I was like, well, I said, yeah, but you don't call me Rhea. He was like, mm-mm,
Mm.
that's
I was
that
like,
doesn't even sound right. I'd rather call you mom.
there's been times when I've made jokes about my parents, like I call them by their first name, and they're like, "What do you want?" We're just like, you don't care that I'm calling you by your first name? No, what do you
Right,
want? Like, I mean,
right, yeah.
Because if you do it as a kid, it's a sign of disrespect. So, yeah.
Right.
But if I do it as an adult, they don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, I've done it to my mom. Kim Leah, but just like bullshitting around and not being
I'm just
serious.
like, Danny Cooper, what are you doing? And she didn't care. She was like, I'm just watching the news.
Your parents are so cute.
You're supposed to get mad at me. Like, no, there was actually this thing earlier today. I saw this reel and it was a cow snoring. Like it's a sentence to someone who snores just like this. And I sent it, I was like, my dad. I sent it to I said, Dad. And he said, very funny. I said, it looks like you too. And
Oh.
my mom said, sounds like him for sure. I think I've seen him before. I said, do you just see him in the bed next to you? And like she was saying she saw that reel before, but I was like, I'm pretty sure you just saw him next to you in the bed. And then she laughed at it. And my dad put the like cursing. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I am a quick-witted person, and I'm
Yeah.
quicker than my dad. And my dad likes to not, he doesn't give me credit for it, but I'm quicker than he is, and he knows. And
He doesn't think so, but
when I win, he's like, okay, now don't be disrespectful, even though we just been doing it for the past 2 minutes. Like,
right.
now
So
when you can't think of anything is disrespectful.
it's a parent thing because I've done that before.
I'm just like, you started this too. He's the one who always starts it
We're like,
too.
okay, enough.
I'm like, I'm like, but the thing about it is, I always tell my mom, it's like he always starts it, and she's like, I know he always starts it. And I'm like, I know. And when I finish it, he says I'm being disrespectful. Like that he is. That's, eh, like even though like adopted people have a tough time arranging the life with, their adopted family.
Yeah,
In the end, we just love them. Like we love the parents. We love well, the ones that are actually good, I should say. The good adoptive parents. You know what I mean? There
yeah,
are bad adoptive parents. You have to admit, there's not some people are just not meant to be parents.
yeah,
Anyhow, but like in the end, if you like treat us right and everything, you don't give up on us, we will be loyal as fuck.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean, and we won't do anything on purpose to hurt you, but we need to get to that maturity stage first.
yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
like we actually love this person and we don't want to hurt them. There's been times when I would think about the shit I put my parents through and I would just start crying. And I called them, I'm like, hey, I am so sorry for what I put you through. They're like, oh,
yeah,
it's okay. You just had a lot going on. And one thing about my parents is that they weren't when they say that, they're not making an excuse for me. They're just putting an
yeah,
explanation of why I put them through all that, you know?
yeah, yeah. I've had a conversation like that with my mom because I was the absolute worst for a long time. I mean, you know, whatever happened in my life, I pretty much took it out on my mom. And
Right.
my mom is the one who moved away from my alcoholic father and started a new life here. Just her taking care of me and, did made these changes for us to have a better life and stuff. And when you have this one person, a lot of times we do it as people. We do it in our own households. It's like, why would you yell at your kid? Why would you curse at your kid? Oh, because I was fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Well, we subconsciously do these things to certain people because we know they're not going to leave us afterward. We're
Hmm.
not thinking about it at the time. But
Hmm.
like if you have someone who you know is going to stand by you and someone who you know is going to leave you the second you do something wrong, who are you more nervous around? Who do you like,
One you're gonna accidentally, yeah.
you
Like
know?
there's a
Or
thing
you're
that
gonna just get it over with because I know you're over with because I know you're gonna leave anyway. I'm just gonna go ahead and get it, push you out.
right. So the thing about it is actually I wouldn't even say it's an I feel like anybody who's been through trauma is kind of like this, honestly. It doesn't even have to
Yeah.
be trauma, really. But like, do you know how many tests I've put my mentor through? Dear Lord, I'm surprised she's still freaking around because like the thing about it is I've done so many tests on other people and they failed and they're not in my life anymore. And I see the
Yeah.
people they become and I'm like, okay, I'm glad my test failed or they failed my test, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the one of the main people that have passed my test besides my parents is my mentor. Like she, even though like maybe there's a few that maybe she didn't pass, but like you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
nobody's never gonna pass my test 100% because you basically have to be Jesus if you want to pass all my tests. You know what I mean? So there was times when I had to like let go of the slack a little bit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But as
Yeah.
long as she passed the more important ones, that's all I cared about, you know? Like showing me like, hey, you promised you're gonna stay. Now let me see that you're gonna keep this promise, you know? And
Yeah.
so, I mean, sometimes what I would do is I'd be like, hey, I want space. And she'd be like, red flag, what's going on? Like, you know, and I'm like, oh, you know me so well. Like,
Yeah.
all right, you passed the test. Good job. Like, bravo. Like, you know, because like she knows that if I ever need space from her, something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
most of the time something most likely is wrong, where she would be asking me, like, hey, what does she do that has required or what's going on in my mind that has required,
Yeah.
hey, I
Yeah.
want, or maybe it's something that she did and she wants to correct it or this or that.
Yeah.
And so she was the first healthy relationship I've ever had. Because even though it may have not maybe start off in my mind as a healthy relationship because it was an obsessive thing. Like I was obsessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have not been the most healthy at the beginning on my side, not her side, my side.
Hmm.
And so then as she started to lay down boundaries and navigate, as we navigate this relationship together, we created boundaries with each other to create a healthy relationship with us. Like, you know, to create that healthy relationship to where like I don't get burned down on her, she doesn't get burned down on me. We don't
Yeah.
fight. And if like, hey, if I do something wrong, tell me. Like
Yeah.
that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if I did something wrong, tell me and we can work through it together. There was
Yeah.
not too long ago we had a situation about like the I love yous, you know, and kind of navigating that boundary, you know. And so she accidentally said it in a Zoom call towards the end. You know, she accidentally said it, and I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I love you, dude, and logged off, you know. And I
Yeah.
did more because she set a boundary before with herself, like, hey, I'm not going to say this to you because I feel like that's more of a friendship thing, you know. And I got
Right.
mad about
Right.
that. You know, I honestly did get mad about that, and we had a long conversation, text conversation about it. And so I finally got over it, you know, and then she did that little slip up and it made me angry at her, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, she tried to explain to again why she doesn't do it, and it still pissed me off. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so,
Well, it's
and
kind of like, well, now you're confusing me. Like your boundaries are becoming confusing, and that's not
right,
really
because the thing about it is not a boundary I set, it's a boundary she set with herself.
right.
And so the
Right.
only person that's restricting herself is herself.
Yeah.
It's like, and that kind of annoys me a little bit because it doesn't bother me one bit. I know who she is to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see her as a friend. Hell, if she asked, hey, can I come over and hang out? I'd probably be like, hell no, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's not our
Yeah.
relationship. She doesn't come over and hang out and talk or anything like that. So, I wouldn't get confused because of it, but I'm also an auditory person. I'm a words of affirmation person.
Yeah.
I have like one thing about like people who like ADHD or whatever is if it's not in front of you, you forget it's there.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
emotional,
Yes.
like if you don't tell me you love me, I'm gonna be like, okay, she doesn't love me. You know what I
But
mean?
I'm very different in that regard.
Really? Like I'm an
Yeah.
action person too. I'm a huge action person. And she proves to me every fucking day that she loves me by her actions. And
Right,
sometimes,
right,
right. So she,
right.
like, I mean, she talks to me. If I'm like, hey, like I'm overthinking, do you still care about me? You know what I mean? Or whatever, like, or I'm like, are we good? If I ask for reassurance, she will give me that reassurance,
Yeah.
because I don't ask for as much anymore, but if I do want to, or if I feel like I need to, she will answer it and
Hmm.
talks to me, and she's there for me if I need it. So her actions prove that she loves me. And I'm one of those people, like, I'm like, and I still need to hear it. Like, I'm like, do you love me? Do you love me? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
See,
I got,
yeah. I'm so opposite. I go by what you do and how you act and things like that. My husband, on the other hand, he would prefer to hear "I love you" multiple times a day. And I am like, I am fine if you never tell me you love me because I can see that you do. I don't,
yeah, I wish I was
if I
like
never
that.
heard it, it's,
Yeah.
but I do, I say it because I know it benefits him
Mhm.
emotionally, mentally.
Yeah, I get that. And it's just one of those things of like maybe like it bothers me still a little bit, but not enough for me to be like bring it up again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I'm not creating a sense of resentment towards her or anything. It's just like this is something I can't change. I have to radically accept that this is how it is.
Yeah.
And like, I'm hoping that before anything happens to her, before it happens to me, I would like her to say at least, I don't know, like hear it again. But
Yeah.
like, I just also understand where she's coming from. And I just don't, I hate that she restricts herself. Like, you know what I mean? If it's needed for her, I understand. Like I said, I respect it. I have no choice
Yeah.
but it. And I will respect anybody's boundaries. But it's not really a boundary for me. It's a boundary for her. But I can say it to her, no problem. And I do. I don't give a shit.
It
Like,
could just be for her, uh, professionalism. It
hmm,
could just be a boundary to keep professionalism in order. You know what I mean?
yeah, you may want to stop the recording for a second.
Okay. Well, you want to wrap this up and then you can
Yeah, we can wrap it up and we can remove that conversation.
so but yeah, it happens. It's weird. Like, like I said, I would be fine if I never heard it because as long as you're showing me.
Right.
But he, on the other hand, is like he would prefer to hear it multiple times a day and be shown. I'm like, that's a lot of work, man, but I'll do it. Just
Yeah.
know that I'm putting a lot of effort in here. You know what I mean? Like, but it's also important in relationships too to kind of do the things that are good for other people, even
Yeah.
if it's not what we prefer,
Right.
because we want to do that. We want them to do that for us too. And when it comes
Right.
to being, adoptive parents and adoptive kid, it kind of applies there. There's certain things as the adoptive parent that I know that I need to do and that I need to make sure are in place so that the adoptive kid is comfortable and secure,
Right.
and vice versa, that he needs to have in place so that,
And I mean, I would also say structure is the biggest
yeah.
thing.
I would say I'm gonna say he has the most structured parents out of all my kids because,
Really?
yeah, I mean, I was 14 and 18, single mom with my first two. And then
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
even when I was married and had my next two, we ended up getting divorced and, all that. And so, and we've even, something happened to where he was just being real bratty.
Hmm.
And Quentin and I, we were like, I think Quentin, he was like, or no, it was one of the kids. They were like, you have like the most solid family out of all of us. Like, you, not family.
Right.
You have the most solid childhood out of all of us.
Hmm.
Don't understand why you're acting this way
Hmm.
because you've got everything that most kids want. Kind of thing.
I would say that that can land in a very invalidating way to the kid. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that because my
Yeah,
therapist
no,
never
because
said that
well,
thing to me. I mean, I know my, like I said, I know my history is a little different.
yeah,
And there has been times my parents are like, we give you everything. What else do you want?
my
And
biological mom to want me is
exactly
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
to want to feel like I'm not an option to everybody. You know what
right,
I mean? And that maybe the fact that I don't go to school and get bullied every fucking day and telling me to kill myself. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, maybe some form of mental stability that I have do not have right now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
by the way, I want to mention, just want to let you know that I know you guys are in between therapists or whatever's going on with that portion.
Yeah,
But
everybody tells me they don't have a therapist for his age. It's
yeah, so I want you to check out. I don't know your insurance. I know that this place that I go to takes every type of insurance except Medicaid, I believe, and or whatever. But South Lake Counseling is one of the best places I have ever been to
okay,
personally. They're really good. Um, they have a place in Davidson, they have one in Charlotte, and I think they have one in Concord. So they
okay.
like offices and stuff. You have to figure out
Hmm.
which therapist is in which office, though. But they do a lot of telehealth if you ever just want to do fully telehealth. I have done telehealth or Zoom with my therapist ever since I met her, and she doesn't care.
That's what one of my
She's
kids
helping
does.
me. She's helping me with exposure, of course, and stuff like that. But I do see her on tele. Um, I know a few of them work with kids, but one thing I also want you to look into is their DBT program for for your son because that would help him to learn how to regulate himself. And they also have an RO DBT and like you can do that with a parent and stuff. I just think you need to check out their programs because I think it could really help your son and for you to maybe learn skills like their expense the it's a little expensive, I would say. I mean, it's 520 for every 8 weeks, and it's a 6 month commitment. But you can
Hmm.
like pay session or every group, or you can do like go ahead and pay for 8 weeks and then just keep doing it that way and stuff. But they're a really good program. Like I haven't found one any better than them. They do have therapists that do kids. I don't know. I just think you need to check them out. I think they could really help you guys. And
Okay,
my therapist that I see, she's the best. I don't know if I think she does see kids. I'll ask her. I'm not sure how full her schedule is right now. But ask about Sheena Beach. She's really fucking good. She is one of the best that I've ever had in my whole time of finding therapists.
okay, okay.
So, um,
Um, okay, yeah.
yeah.
We we use Center for Emotional Health a lot.
Mhm.
But then with multiple other people have always don't have a therapist for his age group, which is pretty sucky. Yeah, multiple, yep. And I'm
That,
like, and this has been since he was like 6. I got him, yeah, I got him into a therapist with Center for Emotional Health for a brief period. But when we moved, I started looking for somewhere else because it was all virtual
mhm.
and he was just manipulating her. All
Uh,
he did was just say, yeah, I
oh,
did that. Yeah. And she would just believe him. It was like, this is not actually
see,
doing anything.
my therapist won't fall for that shit. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. She's very aware of manipulations and that type of
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll look into it. I'll look into
Yeah.
it.
Um, And yeah, and the thing about is I understand, and you can always ask to be like, hey, like maybe we can have a meeting, like 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after, since he is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
underage. You know what I mean? Now, my mom tried to do that with me when I was above age, and I called Sheena like a couple days before the meeting. I'm like, Sheena, don't say half the shit that I tell you. Like, I don't know, don't tell her anything. Like, because
Yeah.
my mom wanted to be
Yeah.
involved in the process, but that was because I was overage. But I did tell her, like, eventually I did, my therapist helped me be like, dear man her, to be like, hey, you're actually hindering the process. Like, because I'm over the age of 18 and
Mhm.
I need to be alone with my therapist. I need to feel like I can tell her anything without
Yeah.
maybe even accidentally getting back to you. You know what I mean? Because like we're all human, we're gonna slip or whatever. Like, and so, but him being underage, it would help if you just tell the therapist, like, hey, after like the last 5 minutes, let's talk, or the first 5 minutes, let's talk and see how he did or whatever. And then,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I with my other kid who is in therapy, I mean, in the beginning when she was younger, she's been with the same therapist for a long time. When she
Mhm.
was younger, I would go in the room for short periods of time because, well,
Mhm.
I need to get to know this person before I leave you in the room alone with them.
That's
And
fair.
yeah, and then now she's still underage, but for a while, I don't involve myself in her therapy in those conversations. Now, if I feel like I need to bring something to the therapist's attention, I will
Right.
talk with her, for a minute before their sessions. But I think that it is important for her to have that privacy.
Right.
And with him, I wouldn't though. I wouldn't give him that privacy just because he can be manipulative
Mm.
and because I am protective of my kids and I can't leave my kid alone in a room with someone who I don't really know.
Right.
Even if I'm right in the waiting room, whatever, he's 9. And for his mental and physical well-being, I can't do that.
Right. And that I completely understand, especially see, and the thing about it is I understand too, like, because like if I had a kid, I don't care if it was the same sex or a different sex. I need to make sure this person is a safe person for this. It's like when my parents like, go away and pass away, the person who's gonna be taking care of my sister. It's gonna be the most rigorous thing anybody's go through. It's not gonna be one of those things of like, oh, this job will be easy to get.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Like, and the thing about it is my parents already has cameras all over the house. And I
Hmm.
swear, like if I notice there's a power outage or whatever, I'm gonna have somebody there in like 2 seconds. And
Yeah,
give a shit because power outages turns off the camera, and it could be somebody turning off the internet. Turning off the internet turns off the camera.
yeah,
Like, so if I see any of that happen, I don't give a shit if it was an actual like Wi-Fi outage or something. I'm having someone there in 2 seconds, and that person like is gonna wait for a minute before I leave them alone because I'm like the
yeah,
camera needs to be on at all. Like
yeah. It's
the world's scary, bruh.
and yeah, it's just the need to protect people,
Exactly.
you know.
And I mean, what insurance do you guys have?
Some of us have United Healthcare, some have Medicaid, but I did find out recently that there are options like United Healthcare, different options through Medicaid now.
Mm-hmm.
So I am working on
I
getting
think
that.
my therapist does take United Healthcare. I think there's only two things that she doesn't take, and I think it's Medicaid. Or maybe just Medicaid. I can
Right.
ask because I see her in like 30 minutes. So I can always ask and just be like, hey, you guys take United Healthcare. Does he have
Yeah.
United or does he have Medicaid right now?
He currently has Medicaid.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
It,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm working on getting it switched
If you
over,
can
but
if you could get him switched over, then I'm sure you can get in with.
I probably have a lot more options. Yeah, once I get him switched over.
Yeah, because I mean, I honestly think honestly, I wouldn't see why he wouldn't get along with the people there, honestly, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
they love me so much, so I'm just and the where she is most of the time is in Charlotte, in the Charlotte location. So how far
Okay.
is from Charlotte?
45 minutes to an hour.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Never mind. And I'm guessing you're farther away from Concord too, and Davidson.
No, Concord, about 30 minutes.
What about Davidson?
Where?
Davidson.
Probably closer to 45, I think. I don't know. Let me see.
Because they have, I'm just saying they have a Concord, Davidson, and Charlotte. So if you can find the one that's 30 minutes, then that's good. So
I feel like Davidson is about, yeah, Davidson about 45 minutes, depending on where it's at. Yeah.
yeah, then Concord.
So, but therapy is important. I think everyone should go to therapy. And, I'm always,
We're all a little fucked some way, so I'm just
well, it's been great having you as usual. Let everybody know where they can find you if you would like to be found. And if not, then don't bother her.
you can find me at the end of the tunnel because I'm the light. Ha ha! Nah, you can find me on Facebook or no. You can follow me on Instagram though, Natia_Cooper. Yeah, you can go there.
All right. Well, thanks for being here and see you next time.
All right. Sounds good.
Check us out on YouTube at Rhea Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.